She came into the kitchen that morning like a tax auditor with a calendar. No hello, no coffee. She set her phone on the counter, showed me a picture of some gleaming, pointless gadget for the house, and tapped the price with her nail. I want this. I looked at the number. For what? It doesn't do anything we need. It's aesthetic, Claire said. Transfer the money. No. She stared like I denied oxygen. You're being cheap. Or practical. I slid her phone back. Pick something we actually use. She scoffed, grabbed the phone, and left the room mumbling about how I never just do what a husband should. I stood over the sink watching the neighbor walk his dog through the frost. I wasn't angry. I was alert. A line had shifted. If I had known where that little demand was headed, I would have cleared my schedule sooner. Claire and I had been married 8 years. I manage a warehouse team for a regional supply company. Early mornings, predictable hours. Claire works part-time in a home staging business with her friend Tara. Tara talks fast, loves vibes, and thinks every room needs a ladder with blankets on it. Claire bought into that whole world. Curated candles, jars no one opens, pillows you remove before you sit. I used to find it funny. Lately, it felt like a tax. That morning was the first clean signal. Not the thing itself, but the tone. Transfer the money. A command. No conversation, no partnership, just a test to see if I'd salute. I decided to pay attention. That night, I tried to reset us. I grilled chicken, set the table, lit the cheap candles we keep in the drawer for power outages. Claire walked in, looked at the plates, and gave me a smile for strangers. What's this? Dinner. Us. Tuesday. She sat, poked the salad, and scrolled through her phone while I talked about my day. When I asked about hers, she said, fine. Like the full story would cost extra. You okay? I asked. I'm tired, she said. Can we not do a performance? Then she pushed the chicken away. It's dry. I finished eating my own food and cleared the plates. She didn't look up. Cold, then dismissive. 2 steps in a plan. I could feel it. The next afternoon, I called her sister, Grace. She's 2 years younger than Claire, works in physical therapy, has a laugh that cracks a room open. We'd always gotten along. She picks up on people fast, but she doesn't gossip. Hey, I said, leaning against my truck outside the warehouse. I need a read. Claire's been off. Grace went quiet a beat. I've seen it. Seen what? She's been short with everyone. She thinks if she pulls away, people will chase. It's a phase, Grace added quickly. Try warmth. Remind her you two are good. Warmth I can do, I said. Just not begging. Don't beg, Grace said. She respects straight lines. You have that. Use it with kindness. I decided to go big, but simple. Friday night. Steak, her favorite wine, music low, the house picked up, flowers in a jar. I ironed a shirt for the first time in months and put on the watch she gave me when I got promoted. At 6, I heard the garage open. At 6:05, Claire stood in the doorway, eyes scanning the room like it was staged for a showing. Wow, she said. What happened here? I want us back in the same room, I said. Sit. She put her bag down, slid into the chair. I poured wine, kept my voice flat. You've been distant. I'm not chasing fog. I'm right here. Don't make it a thing, she said. You always make stuff heavy. I'm laying a table, not laying charges. She took a sip, grimaced, then forced a smile. It's nice. Good. I handed her a small box, simple earrings. No reason. Just you. She opened it, looked, and set the box down like it was a warranty card. Thanks. That's all. I said thanks. We ate. I made calm conversation. She took calm bites, nodded, and checked her phone under the table like a teenager. When the music stopped, she didn't notice. When I refilled her glass, she covered it with her hand. I'm up early, she said. And don't buy me things to fix moods. It's needy. I leaned back. It's called caring. It's called trying too hard, she replied, standing. Don't smother, okay? She went upstairs. I sat at the quiet table with 2 plates and a box of earrings that looked like a receipt. The next morning in the break room, my coworker Miguel shook his head. You look like someone told you the season's canceled. Just learning the score, I said. Play defense, he shrugged. Don't chase. I did both. I adjusted and I acted. First change, I separated our day-to-day money. I moved half our joint funds into a new household account under my name and switched auto-pays for essentials, mortgage, utilities, insurance. The rest stayed joint for groceries, and small stuff. I left a note on the fridge with my number for the new account and a line. Bills handled. Extras need to talk. No drama. No lecture. A boundary you can put on a spreadsheet. Claire found the note that afternoon. What is this? Finance clarity, I said. You're controlling me. I'm preventing friction. Essentials are covered. Extras are discussions. That feeder isn't essential, she snapped, waving her phone again with another shining piece of nonsense on it. No, it's not, I said. But bring me something that actually improves our life, and we'll discuss it. She laughed through her nose. You think you get to decide what improves my life? I think I get a voice in how we spend money we both earn, I answered. That's what adults do. She stared, weighing whether to escalate. Then, first illusion. She softened. Put the phone down. Touched my arm. Okay, she said. Maybe I've been edgy. Work's been weird. Tara's on my case. I took it out on you. She gave me a small kiss and peered up. Dinner tonight? No talk. Just us. I watched her hands. No tension. The smile reached her eyes. It looked real enough to pass a quick inspection. I allowed a half step of trust. Sure, I said. 7. We had dinner at a neighborhood place. She asked about my projects, listened, laughed at a story about Miguel mixing up pallets. In the car, she turned the radio down. Thank you for trying, she said. I see it. Then meet me halfway. I said. I will. We got home. She was warm. She slid under my arm on the couch and let the show play in the background. Then, near the end, when my guard was almost back in my pocket, she pulled out her phone and started texting with an intensity that blocked out the room. What's up? I asked. Nothing, she said. Don't start. Not starting. Just noticing the room has a third person now. She rolled her eyes. I knew it. A whole performance for control. So the softness was a tactic. Noted. I didn't scold. I adjusted again. Second initiative, time boundary. I stopped waiting around. If she was late, I started without her. If she ignored a text, I did not send a second. Saturday, I went to the gym early, ran errands, dropped by Grace's clinic with coffee, and asked about her weekend. You two making progress? She asked, tucking hair behind her ear. We had a pretty dinner and a pretty backslide. Keep your line, she said. Don't let her rewrite you. I'm not, I said. I am, however, making one last big move. If it lands, good. If it doesn't, I'm done pretending. What move? Grace said. Her birthday is in 3 weeks. I'm buying a trip. 2 weeks, somewhere warm. No staging, no errands, no audience. Just us. Grace brightened like a lamp. That's perfect. She needs out of the bubble. Sun fixes half the stupid in people. I smiled. You're an optimist. I'm a realist who likes beaches, she grinned. Do it. She'll love it. She used to talk about Bali all the time. Said she wanted to sit under some trees with her feet in the sand and not be responsible for anyone's mood. Bali it is, I said, even though the time zone math in my brain started doing push-ups. I booked flights for 2 and a small villa near the ocean. I arranged time off with my boss. You sure you want 2 weeks? He asked. Yes, I said. Non-negotiable. Good, he said. Take the time. The place won't burn. I printed the tickets and put them in a simple envelope. The plan was clean. Give it to her at the party Grace and I were hosting at our place. Family, a few friends, cake. Public, yes, but not for show. For clarity. For a line. The days leading up were textbook escalation. Cold turned to mockery. One night, Claire looked at my shirt and snorted. You really can't dress yourself without me. Looks fine to me. It's cute that you think that. Another night, I came home to an empty house and a note. Out with Tara. Don't wait up. No context, no return time. When she got back near midnight, she brushed past me. Why didn't you text? I asked. I'm allowed to have a life. So am I said. And my life includes dinner at 7. If you're not in it, say so. She waved a hand. Stop scheduling me. So I stopped scheduling her. I scheduled me. I moved a fishing trip up 2 weekends and didn't ask. I told her at breakfast. Going to the lake with Mike and Paul. Back Sunday. She tried to bait a fight. You didn't ask. I informed, I said. Just like your note. Fair is fair. She gave me a thin smile. We'll see. The morning of the party, she floated through the kitchen humming and using my nice knives to shave the tops off muffins. She'd invited Tara and her husband, our neighbors, her parents, and of course Grace. I kept it simple. Grill, Music, coolers on the deck. By 6, the house was full of voices. Claire was in her element, air kissing, explaining the garnish on a punch bowl like it was a thesis. I watched her perform warmth for the room while keeping me at arm's length. It was a neat trick if you didn't care about truth. At 8, when the toast time came, I tapped my glass. The room fell quiet. I'm not a speech guy, but I can deliver with a straight face. Thanks for coming, I said. Claire, you make spaces beautiful. That's not nothing. You bring people together, and you keep things moving even when we're both tired. I don't say it enough. I'm grateful. A few people nodded. Grace held my eyes a half beat, encouraging. I lifted an envelope. I've been thinking about what we need. Not another gadget. Time. So, for your birthday, I got us 2 weeks where no one can knock. Somewhere you once said you wanted to go. I handed her the envelope. She took it like it might explode, slid a nail under the seal, and pulled the papers out. Grace leaned forward. Tara stood on her toes. The room went hush. Bali, Claire said. Yes, I said. Just us. She blinked, then smiled with the corners of her mouth and nothing else. Bali, 2 weeks. Together. That's the idea, I said. She let out a small laugh. No, thank you. The sound in the room changed. Like a window slammed. Someone coughed. Tara's eyes went wide. My neighbor's wife actually whispered, wow. Excuse me. I said, not angry. Just making sure the air carried words accurately. Claire folded the papers and put them back in the envelope like returning a product. Bali is a lot. And 2 weeks alone? Pass. Grace stepped in, voice sharp. Why? Anyone would go. It's a dream. What's the problem? Claire shrugged, a shrug designed to minimize and punish. I have plans. Work. I can't just disappear. You disappear when it benefits your mood, I said. I kept my voice level. This is for us. It's for you, she replied. You want to lock me in a room and call it love. I nodded slowly, absorbing the calculus. The room watched me like I might drop the envelope or throw it. I did neither. I turned to Grace. How about you go with me? I asked. Just us. Grace looked stunned. Then she smiled like sun after rain. Seriously? Seriously, I said. Claire's mouth opened, then shut. She shrugged again, bigger. Do whatever. We moved on. Cake. Music back up. I made sure everyone felt comfortable. I laughed with my neighbor about yard tools. I showed Miguel a picture of the fishing trip I'd moved. The room wanted to peek at the wound. I refused to bleed. Later, when people thinned out, Grace pulled me toward the side yard near the trash bins. The motion light clicked on. Did you mean that? She asked. Yes. Evan, she said softly, it's risky. She'll lose it. She already chose an audience to tell me no, I said. I won't let the tickets die of shame in a drawer. Come with me. Grace breathed in, then nodded. I'm in. Pack light, I said. We leave in the morning. I slept like a man who'd finally picked a lane. At the airport, Grace wore a loose sweater and no makeup. She looked like herself. On the plane, she kept checking her phone. She's texted me 3 times, Grace said. Do I answer? Not today, I said. We landed in a place that smelled like salt and fried garlic. Our villa was small and human, 1 bedroom each, a little pool that reflected palm fronds at night, a path to the beach. The first day, we did nothing big. We ate grilled fish, sat too long at lunch, let the ocean noise wash the city noises out of our heads. Grace walked with me at sunset. She's going to twist this, she said, tossing a pebble. She twisted the moment I offered Grace in front of our friends. I said, I'm done playing. That night, over simple noodles at a place with plastic chairs, Grace said, you didn't deserve that. I know what I deserve, I said. I also know what I'll accept. 2 different lists now. We fell into a routine that felt like a life. Morning coffee on the little porch, walks along the water, late lunches that turned into slow conversations. We rented scooters one day and went inland to see terraces waving in the breeze. We sat in a tiny courtyard listening to a guy play guitar badly, and it felt better than any perfect restaurant at home. People smiled with their whole faces. Nobody staged anything for clout. We never pretended we weren't together, but we kept it clean. No lines blurred that would haunt me later. Still, there was a shift. One evening, rain came in early. We dragged 2 chairs under the overhang and listened to it drum on the pool. Grace tucked her legs up and watched me. You're different here, she said. How? Looser. You don't scan the room for something to fix. You wait your turn with the world. Maybe the world is finally minding its manners, I said, and she laughed. You did something brave, she said after a while. Not because you invited me. Because you stopped asking someone to be nice to you. I asked, I said. Then I drew a line. The second part was the new thing. She sipped her tea, then set it down. Her voice dropped. If I'm out of line, tell me. But if a man I respected and liked offered me a life like this, calm, honest, with stupid jokes and the kind of quiet where you actually hear your own thinking, I would say yes before he finished asking. I watched the rain push ripples across the water. My answer came out simple. If I had a wife like you, we'd have very few problems. She blinked fast, then looked away, then back. Don't be nice just to be nice. It's cruel in the end. I'm not being nice, I said. I'm telling you what's true. Her throat tightened. She swallowed and smiled, the kind of smile that starts at relief. I have loved you for a long time, she said, voice not shaking, eyes not begging. It was a confession, not a request. I never let it out because the world is small and I respect vows. But I love the way you hold a line. I love the way you think 3 moves ahead and still choose mercy first. I put my hand over hers. When we get back, I'm filing. Not in a month. Not after a talk. Right away. And I would like to start with you early. Clean and open. No hiding, no drama. If that scares you, say so. She shook her head once, small and sure. It doesn't scare me. It scares me how much I want it. It's not a joke, I said. I know, she said. I'm in. We didn't need more words after that. The rest of the week, we were careful, and we were happy. We moved like people who finally matched pace. We agreed to keep Bali quiet until papers were in motion. It wasn't about secrecy for thrills. It was about not turning our life into a circus. We flew home on a Tuesday. Time folded back into traffic and errands, but the line in me stayed straight. I didn't go home from the airport. I went to the clerk's office, filled out what needed filling out, and paid what needed paying. 30 minutes later, the machine beeped, and I had a stamped acknowledgement in my hand. I texted my boss, back in town. In tomorrow. Need an hour in the morning. He answered, take it. At the house, Claire's car was in the driveway. The door opened before the key turned. She had that look that tries to cut you before you speak. You took my trip with my sister, she said. Not a hello. Those tickets were for me. Those tickets were for us, I said. You refused in front of our family. I didn't refuse, she said, voice jumpy. You set me up. You know I hate surprise decisions. I was kidding. You misread it. No. Thank you. Is not ambiguous, I said. She tried another angle. You embarrassed me. You wanted to make me look ungrateful. Then you ran off with Grace to sell a story. I held up the paper. I filed for divorce 30 minutes ago. This is not a negotiation. I gave you more chances than anyone deserves. I won't live like a man begging for basic respect. She froze and then, as defense, laughed. Divorce? Be serious. Who wants you besides me? I'll manage, I said. You can pack whatever you need. The utilities are paid through the month. After that, we split the house and move on. Keep it clean. She stormed past me into the bedroom, pulling drawers open like the house had insulted her. You'll be back, she called. You're not built to be alone. You'll crawl. Not my style, I said. Keys on the hook when you leave. She clomped around, stuffed a bag, and slammed the front door with a line tossed over her shoulder. If you're joking, apologize by Friday. After that, I'm done. The door shook the pictures. Then quiet. I stood in my own living room and felt something I had not felt in a long time. Space that belonged to me. I texted Grace, filed. She left. Grace replied with a string of laughing emojis, and then, I'm proud of you. We kept our heads down the next couple weeks. Grace and I met on weeknights at a quiet spot near the river. We shared food, planned like adults, kept it calm. It felt like a life built on choices instead of reactions. 2 weeks in, Claire called. I let it ring once, then picked up. She opened with, well. About what? Your apology, she said. I'm giving you one more chance to stop this. There is no apology, I said. Expect mail soon. Stop calling. 3 days later she called again, voice blurred on the edges, softer than I'd heard it in months. Please meet me, she said. We can fix this. I'm sorry I pushed. I didn't mean to push you away. In the background I heard a TV and what sounded like her mother's murmur. I asked for basic respect and got theater. I said, "We're done. Don't call again." She sniffed. "You're really going to throw it away?" "I'm throwing away the part that rots." She hung up without goodbye. When the paperwork moved far enough along that telling the truth wouldn't ignite scandal, Grace and I told our families we were together and planning to marry. We did it in broad daylight with normal clothes and no stunts. My parents nodded like their shoulders dropped 3 inches. Her dad gave me a handshake that had weight in it. Claire's mother watched the floor like it could save her. Tara tried to make a face into a headline and found no readers. Neighbors acted like they'd been watching the same show. "You two fit," my neighbor's wife said. "We all saw it when you left for that trip. Not the scandal, just the calm." We took a small place outside town with a yard that wants attention. I bought a used truck that doesn't complain. I go to work, I lift, I cook simple meals that we actually eat. On Fridays, we sit on the back steps and talk about our week without scoring points. Grace reads on the couch with her feet tucked under a blanket that actually gets used. We laugh, we argue quickly and directly, and we sleep like people without a court date. Claire moved into a one-bedroom near downtown. Word through the family chain was predictable. First, she told everyone she was getting better offers. Then she told a smaller group that I ruined her life. Then she asked for help moving again because the rent was ridiculous for what it is. I didn't gloat. I didn't gloat because I didn't need to. She'd built her comfort out of control, and when control left the room, so did the comfort. Sometimes I think about that morning at the sink when she told me to transfer money like I was her assistant. That was the first clear line I could name. In the end, the big moments matter. A toast, a ticket, a flight. But what saves you is the quiet decisions. You stop asking for normal like it's a luxury. You act like a person with standards. For anyone keeping score, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't slam doors. I changed the rules I live by, and I enforced them. That's all. There's one more scene people always ask about. After everything, Claire came to the house with her father to collect a few boxes. Grace wasn't there. She'd gone to the store. Claire walked through the living room like she was touring a museum she helped curate. She stopped at the mantel where I'd put a framed photo of Grace and me standing on the beach, hair messy, faces unarranged. Claire touched the frame and turned. "This is cruel." "No," I said. "This is honest." She had 100 things to say and said none. Her father clicked his tongue and told her to grab the boxes. On their way out, she looked at me one last time the way people look at a locked door they used to have a key for. "Good luck, Evan," she said, trying to make it sound like a curse. "You too," I replied. "And Claire." "What?" "Next time someone offers you 2 weeks of peace, try yes." She left without slamming the door. A month later, on a Saturday, I stood in my yard with a rake and a coffee. Grace came out with her hair in a low knot and a sweatshirt that didn't match anything. She set a muffin on the porch rail and smiled. "You thinking about the lawn?" she asked. "Or thinking about life?" "Both," I said. "They work the same. You stop ignoring the small problems, and the big ones don't swallow you. Then stop talking and rake," she said, bumping my shoulder as she passed. We don't perform our happiness. We live it. That's the whole difference. The house is quieter. The dinners are simpler. The knives get used for onions, not muffins. And when someone knocks, it's a friend or my brother or her coworker who hurt his back moving a treadmill he shouldn't have bought. I still have the envelope from that night. It's in a drawer with a city parking ticket and the key to a storage unit I'll clear someday. I don't keep it to remember pain. I keep it because it's where I chose my life. Not the plane, not the papers. The moment I refuse to play along with a story where I lose my self-respect in exchange for someone else's temporary comfort. People think the satisfaction comes from the big closing line. And sure, I gave one. But the real ending was smaller and better. It was walking into my own house after filing, setting the paper on the table, and knowing the rules were mine again. As for Claire, I wish her a decent Sunday afternoon and a bill she can afford. That's more grace than she ever offered me. I won't check on her. I won't explain myself to her friends, and I won't go back. I don't chase fog. I build weather.